we go. I do believe we are onto you, beloved and holy friend. We are outside today. I remember us yesterday coming here for a second, and it was so nice that I felt like this is a space that I'm supposed to be coming to more frequently. And then, as I get ready to actually start streaming, I notice there's barely any wind. So, the thing that concerns me with streaming outside is kind of null and void. Here we are. Here we are. Today's stream topic is about control and about our human need for control. And I can't control the wind, unfortunately. But if I could, I probably would. And today's stream topic, even though it is about control, it is specifically about the fact that we now live in a world that is increasingly interconnected. Right? Because of the internet, we have now technically extended our control past what used to be our own human boundaries. Right? For me to control you, you would have had to be in audible range or maybe physical range at first. And now, because of the internet, you can control things, potentially people as well, literally from across the planet. And weirdly enough, today's stream topic was inspired by an advertisement, an eSIM advertisement, right? So certain phones have this capacity to have an electronic SIM card on itself. So when you land in a new country that you do not have a physical SIM card for, that eSIM automatically lets you use that local network. And as they were advertising this, they they had like a script that the YouTuber had to read. And they use words pretty deliberately. And in their marketing, they use the words stay connected, stay in control. And it just made me realize in that moment how staying connected these days to the internet is, in a way, staying in control, right? And again, like there are things that are outside of our control that we do not really have a say on, like the fact that I have poor cell service here, technically speaking, right? Something outside of my control. Sure, I could ask these companies that do the do the telecoming to make it better here, but it's one customer potentially, so they have no incentive to do so. So I can't exactly control them to make that happen. And then we got a piece of technology that is technically trying to be controlled in our country that now gives us internet. And there was like some stressors about potentially not having that internet. And again, that was something outside of my control. And this stream is a little bee saying hi to me. Are you a bee? Flying very fast for a bee. And now in this world, right, like this world that I've created alongside you, friends, where we're doing live streams and we're having conversations daily, having internet is a pretty big deal to me, right? And I have had to control myself. I've had to control myself to show up. I've had to prioritize, quite literally, this space more than I prioritize other things. And it is me trying to exert a certain level of control, surely. But at the same time, I've noticed that having something like that in your life not only controls you, but also controls certain narratives, right? Like if you feel out of control of your life, it comes with a certain set of feelings, a state of being, and when you apply a certain level of control, those states of being can go away. And I think that is specifically why human beings are so attached and obsessed, specifically with control. Because it makes the it makes some things go away, right? Some anxieties potentially. I like control. I really do. But I am asked more and more so to come to the conclusion that I'm not. And it has been, I should say, pretty humbling to really acknowledge the fact. Even though I don't particularly like it, I can accept it. I can. Notice this topic and immediately settles in. Yeah, eat the rich. I'm happy that you did interpret my stream topic the way you did, because I did technically write it that way. I did write global control, and Meltmore talks about global control from a perspective of like, oh no, the globals are gonna control us. But no! No, it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you. You controlling the globe. You. Wonderful you. Insatiable you. Mommy gave you her iPad. You were only 2, and it did all the things that we designed it to do. Now look at you. It was always the plan to put the world in your hands, right? We are the ones in control while being controlled. It is quite an absurd world we find ourselves within. And there are things. There are things happening. There are so many things happening that are good for us that we're unaware of, and so many bad things that are happening as well that we are aware of. And then vice versa too, right? You might be very aware of all of the good things happening to you and very unaware of all of the bad things happening to someone else. So, what is the solution? Global control? Jeez, Mel, it's a little bit much, don't you think? Wearing your tinfoil hats and prevent their evil from controlling you. You know, like, you can call it evil. You can call it evil. I don't even know if it is evil. Is it evil? No, I just think it's like it's again like an algorithm. You can't call an algorithm evil for optimizing for the environment it's in, right? In the world as it is and as it's been set up to be, there has been these incentives, right? Like health markers in our society, in our economy, in our communities. And that has driven us as a species to behave in certain ways, right? And again, from a perspective, you can call that evil. But from another perspective, you can just call it stupid or ignorant or unaware or conditioned. I think is even better. Conditioned is a really good word. We have been conditioned to think things are supposed to be how they are. And unfortunately, if you succeed at the things as they are, you have a direct incentive, direct reason to ensure it stays that way. Right? And then we find ourselves in this perpetual loop of wanting to escape the system, and in the attempt to escape the system you have to survive, and then in the attempt to survive you become a part of the system, and then your survival is directly linked to the survival of said system, and then you don't change the system, and then you have kids, and then they are like, what the fuck, dad, what's up with this system, bro, why don't you change it? And then they start showing up to change the system, and then they become a part of it. Like, it seems a little bit scoffed, right? And again, the fact that we are now entering this technological age means that our control is going to expand. Like, the way we human will change, right? Like, think about having like a a bipedal robot that you can VR into. It's at your home. That you can take care of your dogs with, that you can make sure they're fed, make sure they can go for walks. Right? Now suddenly the responsibility of being a pet owner and not being able to travel, for example, gets changed by giving you global control of that aspect of your life. And that's a small example I'm making, you know. This is like a little slice of reality. It's a it's a paradox a little bit, in my mind at least. This this fact that we as human beings are slowly but surely being equipped to be more and more in control, while at the same time grappling with this fact that we are not. Maybe that's why we find ourselves so separated. Because how in control you feel and how in control you are 100% is different from person to person. And that changes the way you see each other. You know what I mean? Right? And I can like create an example by talking about it from the perspective of a potential employer, or maybe they're already your employer. They're your actual boss, right? And then how your behavior is controlled by that person's presence. How there's a very clear understanding in your mind that that person has control of things that you do not have control over. And ensuring that person controls the thing well is of utmost importance. Do I want to actually be a boss? You know, and in just saying that word, it feels like the word boss has been, in my mind at least, synonymized by this this word of cool, right? Like you are the boss, being a boss, right? Being a boss ass bitch. That kind of fractal. However, being an actual boss and all of the control that is required of you, kind of like flying a plane or driving a car, right? If you for any if you for 20 seconds just cease to input any control into your vehicle, no brakes, no extra gas, no touching your steering wheel, you'll end up maybe dead or whatever, right? And that's 20 seconds in something like a car. Maybe you have a business or with a creative project, the stakes aren't necessarily that immediate, right? But they could be. You could not be in control for 20 seconds, and that's 20 seconds too much. And it's creating this weird pattern of thinking in me where it argues for it argues for control. But at the expense of help. At least help of a help of a sentient nature. Right? Because I think as soon as sentience comes into the fray, control becomes a real issue. Do only sentient things want to control things? Beavers try to control the flow of water by building dams. So there is definitely control being applied by creatures other than us. Feels like I'm tiptoeing around what I want to say. Because again, it is this perspective of the rules that have been set up in play, right? In my mind, the ideal fractal is I make so much money that I literally do not know what to do with it, right? So what I decide to do with it is I hire a bunch of people. And in doing so, I put money in their pockets that they can feed themselves, their families, their dogs with, right? Give them control over their lives in a way. But as things are going, it seems to be, at least for the individual, the smaller person, right? Not the megacorp, seems to be more and more difficult to actually earn enough money that you don't know what to do with it, right? Talked a little bit earlier in this stream today about how it has been humbling and sobering in some ways to realize that I'm not in control. Even though I don't like it, I have accepted it. But the way that it manifested in me today is in thinking back to when I was 16. I had this conversation with Armand. He's a friend that I met in the hostel at Middelburg Hoërskool, Middelburg High School. And we had really good chats, philosophical and respectful as well, of opposing viewpoints. And we made this commitment to each other to meet up 10 years from then. And those 10 years are coming up real fast. Like they might already be on me. And like they are saved to some sort of calendar somewhere, but I don't know if it's the same calendar I'm using. And again, my 16-year-old self believed that at this point in my life, I would have more than enough resources to be able to go and visit him in New Zealand. He moved to New Zealand. And again, it's a little lizard running around these rocks with me. So agile. If I could, I would probably spend my whole day just watching the way animals exist. Now looking at that little lizard through the eyes of control, I just saw a bird fly over my field of vision there. Yeah, you're chill. You don't have to worry about me, dude. And then that lizard like instantly looked up. And then when I pointed at the sky, they looked at me as well. I love this world. That is what I keep finding out. And that is what I keep learning. It's the lesson of this whole experience as well. Love this world as much as you can. On a serious note, a satisfied person cannot be drawn into a sale. They convince you that you need a thing, and in doing so, stick their hands in your wallet where they know they're not welcome. And even though, like, I'm so happy that you're opening that train of thought, because as we started talking about the megacorps and the whole controlling you thing, right? Like put on your tinfoil hat to control you. I was thinking about this little device, right? And in a way, I got convinced that I need this thing. But I wasn't being controlled other than by myself. Because a product in my mind needs to be useful or beautiful, and ideally both. And in that way, I do not have any problems with spending money on things, right? And I never feel controlled to. I usually just feel compelled to, right? But again, that thing compelling me isn't the company, it is the product, which for me is more good product design and, serving a function, solving a problem, if you want to use those words. So it's again, I don't feel like it's clear cut enough. It's not so, yeah, all corporations are evil and that's just how it is. I don't think it's that easy. Unfortunately, there's a little bit more nuance. Because again, all corporations are but an amalgamation of people. They're not that far separated. It's just the fact that we don't look at faces. I think that's what I really respect about Japanese culture as well. Is the amount of like putting your own honor, on the line when you work. And I feel like it very much is like that when you're a small business owner and you're trying to build something. But for some reason, that changes at some point when there are these massive companies, right? The scummy shit Apple is doing with like creating serial numbers inside their screens so that your screen doesn't work as well as it's supposed to or doesn't refresh as fast as it's supposed. Like bullshit like that, Like if that was me, if I personally as Melt like sold you a product and then did that to you, me, myself, you wouldn't like me very much. You'd be like, what the fuck, dude? Why you like that, bro? Why you like that? Right? And I feel like, yeah, I would also be ashamed. I would be ashamed if that was the case for something that I did. But it very much is like a matter of control, you know. When you become a massive company like that, quite literally by definition, your product and its use cases becomes out of your control. Which makes me like very mindful even before I commit to a purchase. Because I find myself wanting always, right? I don't know if that's ever gonna go away. I think it's a part of human nature. At least I'm hoping it's a part of human nature. And I know that I can, become super spiritual and release all wants, right? Go down the Buddhistic path, uh, renounce the physical world. But I don't want to, right? On the same level of wanting something, I don't want to let go of this world because I love it, and I feel like there's so many different ways of interpreting how you're supposed to be on this planet, and there is absolutely rampant overconsumption happening. But I think the only reason there's overconsumption happening is because there is, you know, poor products on the market. Like this cell phone that I'm using right now was, when I bought it, a good one, right? By the market consensus, it's a good one. And I'm using it still today, 4 years later. If I bought not a good one 4 years ago, would I have wanted to replace it by now? Would I have replaced it by now? And now, because it's getting onto being 4 years old, a part of me is reaching a point where I'm like, maybe I do want to replace it. But at the same time, there is no reason for me to, right? Other than me wanting more AI features directly on my device and maybe wanting some better cameras, which the cameras are fine as well, relatively speaking. The cell phones we have today, right, don't need to be replaced as frequently as they used to. So the overconsumption, in my mind at least, is going to reach a point of saturation where we are over-consuming right now because we're buying and then throwing away and buying again and throwing away things that need to actually stay in our lives a lot longer. And I have tried in my life to control for that specific variable where uh, I've I've worn that shirt a few times, and I don't know if you friend have noticed it, but that almost granite looking black, blue, and green shirt that I have that had a big tear down its back. That I asked my mom to just patch up, with patches. And I did tell you, friends, that I'll keep wearing these shirts until they, one, fall off of my body, or two, get replaced by my own brand's clothing. Right? Those were my prerequisites for me buying more clothing. And that is at least my own small way of fighting overconsumption, right? That's the way I get to control the overconsumption in my life is by buying things that I feel serve me, right? Something that I want to keep, something that I want to keep. I actually want to keep this, right? Like this little thing, even though I know the newest one probably feels better and is of better finish, I would love to keep this little object indefinitely. This ring, this ring cost me 45 RMB. I think that's like $4. It's cost me $4. I bought this in China. I bought this before I bought that cell phone. And even though it is materially worthless, $4 is not that much money, and who's gonna give me $4 for it now, right? I wanna keep it. I wanna keep it. And then there's this part of me that recognizes that I can't keep anything, but I can hold it for now. And that realization makes me want the thing I'm holding for now be nice. And it seems like I'm stuck in that loop where the want and the ability to control what I want and the ability to control what I get of what I want seems to be like they're different bar sizes. The what I want bar is very big. The what I control I want bar is very small. And then the bar of being able to give myself what I want seems to be growing, but not at the pace that I believe it should. Patience has been coming up a little bit as of late again. Maybe I just need to say that again to myself. Mm, been drawing to a sale. Yeah, I feel you, Sam. I do feel you. I just had to refresh my tab. Hey, boss. Bless you, friend. Oh, oh goodness. This is okay. No, it's fine. I think it's fine. I hope it's fine. I just now remembered again there's something like all messages, and I see Mahosh Trahosh saying good morning. Bless you, dear friend. It's nice having you here with us. I'll get to your comment real soon. Vampires have more respect than that. Do I want to be a boss? You have a good heart, and if you are not chosen for that role, someone else may step into it who is not as kind as you. Hey there, boss ass bitches. Yes, Jovan, love you. And thank you, Sam, for giving me that. For giving me that. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, being a boss. I'm happy that you think me kind because I have been worried that being a boss and being kind are like incompatible. And it's not like I'm not gonna be kind, it's more like I'm not gonna be friends, almost, right? And I feel like my kindness is almost directly interlinked to my friendship because I try and see everything as friends, right? That little quail flying over my head, my mind goes, "Oh, friend," right? If that quail came and landed on my shoulder, I'd be so stoked, right? But suddenly, if that quail is an employee, right, and that quail has a letter to deliver, right? I can't freaking close my teeth. Thank you. Has a letter to deliver. Has a has a pest to control. Now suddenly the bird just landing here on my shoulder could be seen as poor performance. You know, changes the whole changes the whole situation. I'm gonna drop you a little bit to get you out of the sunlight. Hmm. Jovan, it seems to be more difficult to earn. Yeah, that's because we're in the middle of a period of wild and unchecked corporate greed. Eat the rich. With all nice, good choice of sauce. As a psychotherapist specializing in hypnotherapy, it's truly remarkable to see how techniques from hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming can be effectively applied in sales. Repetitive confusion can be particularly effective in a sales context. When a salesperson uses layered language or introduces mild contradictions, it can overwhelm the client's conscious mind. This makes them more receptive to suggestions and can subtly guide the client towards making a decision that aligns with the salesperson's goals, all while the client feels they are making the choice. Look into repetition. I do know about the repetition thing, especially with advertising. I have seen some of that. Emotional anchoring, yeah, framing and reframing, pacing and leading, confusion, embedded commands, imagery, urgency. And I know I've I have right. Like, I enjoy one of the videos I watched today is like why everything is a monopoly, right? And understanding these things. And again, right, the reason things are monopolizing is because certain leaders are creating products that people want, right? And there's nobody else creating a product that can compete with it in the same way in that space, right? So yes, all of those psychological manipulation tactics, but also, yeah, but also the other side of it, having an actual good product. So it's like very like that's the point I'm trying to make is the control is not so clear. It's not as clear as like, yeah, these companies are just evil. It's more a matter of we have so much. We have so much and it's hard to control, the level of stimuli that's coming into your human brain right now. Oh god. When AOL, sorry guys, love to you, Simon. Your shirts of fab, bro. Bless. Good to be here. Thanks for having us. It's always a pleasure. I don't know if we have had a connection just yet. Did you find us randomly on YouTube? And if so, do let me know because that'll give me hope. I don't know if YouTube is showing my streams to people right now. Are you YouTube? Am I advertiser friendly? Probably not. Probably not. Not for the current advertisers at least. Which puts me in a unique position. I get to control myself, right? Because I'm not really earning any money in ad revenue, I don't have any sponsors. I get to do whatever I want to do. And I really don't want to lose that control over my life. And I know, unfortunately, if I am to make any money again, I'm gonna have to give up that control. But I'm the one in control of giving up that control. So have I given up any control? Am I being controlled into believing that I need a job to earn more money? Am I being controlled by capitalism itself? Are all of us being controlled by it? How do we how do we actually get socialism online? Weirdly enough, it's probably gonna have to be online. We did start our stream topic today by talking about how it's not about global control, as in the global is gonna try and control us, but more about how the internet has equipped every single human being with the ability to control things globally, right? But at the same time, now we do have to look at the first one again of our financial system as it is even right now, and crypto as it is right now as well, is linked to this thing we call the internet. And if the internet had to just cease to exist right now, it wouldn't just spell doom for crypto, it would spell doom for most industries. At least logistically, right? Like things would literally crawl to a halt. It would be disastrous. And in that way, there are many layers of redundancies being built. We're putting the internet in space right now as well. Quite literally, it is. Like the internet that's making this possible right now is space internet, right? There's a flat object pointing at space. And because of that, we have internet. Like that's bonkers. That's absolutely fucking insane. But at the same time, that space internet that we have right now is going to become twice as expensive, double price, right? Right now we're paying like 40 bucks, 40 bucks a month. Next month we're starting to pay 80 bucks a month, I think. It hasn't happened yet, but I think we got like a 3 month like grace period, and now it's kicking in next month. And that's not something I can control. Right? I can't be like, no, no, actually, you can't do that, because they can. And the reason they're doing that is because there's so many people coming onto their network that the only way to de-incentivize the amount of traffic that is coming online is to make it twice as expensive. And it's still relatively inexpensive. 80 bucks a month for your internet. That's not that much, Mel. Yeah, but it's still like like no, 20%, 20% of like the money we can expect to earn right now. Is that right? Give or take. Yeah. Right. So it's again, it's one of those things where I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be controlled. But in order to continue having internet wherever I go in this country, that is a very nice thing to have. It's nice to be able to control in my world whether or not I have internet. And the only thing that they can control is how much I have to pay for it. Right? Which seems like we're both at odds, because the one has a lot more power than the other. Love is true. I've been worried that being a boss and being kind are incompatible. How you relate to them will change, but it means you have a responsibility of care to them. Okay. Yeah, that kindness will remain. That's a nice looking spot, right? How nice is this spot? It's just been windy for a while, and now it's like nice and still. So I'm trusting the audio sounds good as well. I'm only here in passing this morning. I have to go repair a very important doggy door for some very important pups. Love you, bro. Thank you for making things not broke. Please don't eat all the rich. They're going to pay me to. Yeah, I was literally just thinking about that, Doc. That they're going to pay me to fix their expensive doggy door. Exactly. It sounds like I missed a sales psychology talk. I could write a book if I could read and write. Love you, bro. That's hilarious. I have a plan for that, but I've been told it's extreme. This is my very first time. Random find. The algorithm is working. Boom. Thank you, YouTube. Bless you, platform. Bless you, friend, for staying. Right? Like it's technically you. Technically, it's you. The algorithm might have been like, how about this guy? How about this dude on the internet somewhere? And now you have controlled by your words, the words coming out of my mouth. And I have in some way controlled the pixels coming into your eyes, the sounds that you get to hear. That's some crazy level of power. Welcome to You Fit Right the Fucking Hail to the Algorithm. I have a client coming, but I'll check in later. Bless friend. Thank you for taking care of the human beings as well. Being a psychologist, of course. I wanna not have the lens get blasted directly. Oh yes, gets lens blasted differently. Yeah, it's fine. Mm, Hopefully you're live and we'll continue to chat. We do this every day. I don't know if you're still here, but we do this every day. Today is day 1330 of consecutively doing this. So if you don't meet us again today, we'll be here again tomorrow. I keep finding more spots where the sun is still shining. Maybe up or down. Maybe that's the vector. Oh, there we go. I got a little bit of no right on camera. YouTube is not showing my Duck Dad farm stuff. Too many copyright strikes for just having music on in the background. I have pissed off big music. Yeah, me too, bro. I piss them off every Wednesday. Right? Like an act of defiance. But the Wednesday's dance streams was spawned as me saying thank you to our Patreon supporters. Right? So I will act of defiance make music indefinitely for the friends that support me. Absolutely. The audio sounds nice, and when the sun isn't in my eyes, the spot is very nice indeed. Yeah, I'm sorry about the sun in the eyes. I'm like moving your face around and stuff. I wanna not have the lens be blasted directly. My shitty vampires, thanks you dearly. Yeah, I am sorry. But the sun. You know what? I could do this too. Almost throws whole setup down mountain. I could do this. Please don't. Please don't throw. There we go. I think this could be a setup. No, I'm the one getting blasted by the sun. Yeah, there was a reason I was facing that way. I don't think there's winning. I only think there's like lesser and more evils. I don't think that's gonna be the situation from now. Bro, I cannot win. Maybe I can have the sun directly get blocked out by me. And I'm adjusting legs here on the fly, so please do excuse my movement. Hmm. Think it works? I think it do worky. Sam is the most polite vampire ever. I think Sam is like just experienced so much vampire life. She went through her murdering rampage phase like a long time ago, and she's like super chill now. She's like the hits a bong and like is super strong, right? Like the longer a vampire lives, the more powerful they become as well, of course. So like the sun doesn't scorch her anymore. It just kind of like is a discomfort, regenning faster than it can do any damage. Embellishing, maybe a little bit. I have one more cycle left in this chamber, I believe. Probably gonna be a devastating one though. She could have just ended you, but as gently. I enjoy defying stereotypes. The surprise in your bloodstream. When I turn out to be exactly the kind of vampire your mother warned you about, it gives you an extra spicy taste. The sun doesn't scorch her anymore. It does at length, and I take an immediate penalty to my movement speeds. You know, I really do relate to the being a vampire thing. And the time that I really noticed it was at Earth Dawns. Last year's Earth Dawns, the second time I met John. Right? Goodness. I became very aware of the sheer amount of dislike I have of sunlight blasting my skin all day for 3 days. The amount of love and gratitude I developed for shade during that experience, yeah, made me realize where my priorities are. Made me want a super suit more. I really want a super suit already. Like it's taking way too long. Again, more reminders of, hey bro, how about your patience? Fine. I have patience. I actually am good at patiencing. I say impatiently to myself. Stop being so critical of my impatience. I am patient. Totally. I've had to wait years. Had to wait years for global change. What the fuck? I've been patient. I've been patient. There we go. The movement speeds. Yeah, it's pretty funny actually. I feel already like that last cycle I just embraced is making itself very aware. And I maybe do not have to hit this Dynavap right now. Maybe we go back to our little cave with its echo and all, and then we read a card and we say goodbye for today. My oh no! Woo! First, I almost pushed you friends down the mountain, and then in moving rapidly enough to catch the camera, I threw my grinder semi down the mountain. And I think okay, good. I did add another bend in my grinder, but it didn't affect its ability to close up, which in my mind is a massive win. Oh, yeah, can't control whether or not I almost drop things, but I can control whether or not I lie to myself, I guess. Look at this. It's just like popping out the ground. Like legit, there's nothing there, and then suddenly this. Isn't that neat? I'm gonna step around her. Hmm. I had to have each leg a different length. when you were outside. We have both decks close by. The Oracle deck and the Sacred Geometry deck. And I would like to give you, friends, the honor of letting me know which one you would like to be read from. Melty, I think I'm going to move to the mountains. I am not surprised by this revelation. I think you are wise in wanting to move to the mountains, bro. The mountains are gorgeous. The Apus? What's that word? We have a card in my deck. The Mountain Apus. Yeah. Mountain Apus. The Andean people call these mountains Apus, which means mountain spirits. The mountain spirits are communing with Duck Dad, probably as well with his hiking, but specifically Po Joe right now, who wants to move there. I don't really think I'm in the mountains, but having that little hill, just that little rock face hill there, already makes me feel more mountain than not mountains. And I can tell you it definitely does serve. It does serve the being. I have to wait for years for global change. Yeah, it's hard out there. Microplastics in the human body made it hard to find a good meal. I don't even start with the microplastic. It's so much yikes. Good morning, good evening, and good morrow. Signal is spotty, so I don't know how long this will hold, but I surely wanted to send a little bit of love. Bless you, bro. It's nice to have you here with us. Swamp is great, but there's so many amazing places in the hills. I think maybe that's the universe, encouraging you to kind of get out there. I suppose you can reclass as a hillbilly. You've spent a lot of time with similar talent points, Joe. True. You can just respec. Oh, reclass! That is what you actually said, like a Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game. I am uncommonly adaptable, Sam. I think again, there is being adaptable, and then there is seeking out good change. And I feel like you deserve that, Pojo. I think you'll kind of grow from that experience as well. How long have you been in Florida? How long? Too long? Maybe it is time for you to go and experience more of the world. Alright. I feel cold to this deck because it did come up. The mountain spirits did get mentioned. The passion flower. The fruit of life, not the passion flower. This is the fruit of life. And the way that I have articulated this before, and I'd like to talk about it again, is that you are the fruit of life. Quite literally. The flower of life is like a representation of your cells growing and becoming what is gonna be eventually your human body. And then you are the fruit of that flower. quite literally. The person that stands at the other side of it. And with that in mind, and with what you've seen, let's read what it means. Abundance and manifestation. This card takes us a step beyond the flower of life by removing the circular boundaries of the flower of life and adding another full rotation. We find a pattern of 13 circles known as the fruit of life. This pattern holds complex informational systems and is considered a female gateway. This abundance emerges from a water lily, which represents our potential for enlightenment. Pulling this card suggests that by the fruit of your labor and vision, abundance has or is about to manifest in your life. Goodness. Like, the fact that we talked so extensively about this today, it almost feels surreal. Abundance emerges from a water lily, which represents our potential for enlightenment. Pulling this card suggests that by the fruit of your labor and vision, abundance has or is about to manifest in your life. Rejoice in the knowledge that you are drawing in abundance and manifesting your goals. Abundance comes in many forms, and you are cautioned not to get caught up in thinking that abundance must be about wealth. True, as you find your life's path, the rewards will flow freely and hard times will pass. There are, however, many other types of abundance: beauty, love, friendship, hope, and growth, to name just a few. Let the abundance you are manifesting bring you to a greater understanding of your purpose in life, an expanded view of plenty. In all things abundant, there exists nourishment that feeds your needs and offers you the opportunity to be of service. The maxim, as you give, so shall you receive, is absolutely true from the standpoint of your current situation. The message is one of unselfishly sharing. Sharing your abundance is spreading light. Did I pull this card upside down? Can't remember. But it says, you lack for nothing, yet feel a sense of scarcity. Adjust your attitude and welcome the manifestation of abundance. Om. Om. I receive all the abundance the universe has to give. I had this mantra that I haven't chanted in a long time, and it's a little bit cringe, but it is very catchy, and it goes, "Ever more abundance flows to me. I'll give it back with absolutely. Ever more abundance flows to me. I'll give it back with absolutely. Ever more abundance flows to me. I'll give it back with absolutely." Yeah, I used to have like a whole thing. And technically, I have become more abundant since chanting this mantra. Maybe I need to start doing it again. One more time. My mind is like, you have to hit that. Ever more abundance flows to me. I'll give it back with absolutely. No, stop, please. Please, too happy. Oh, too much happiness. Why do you spend money on what is not bread and you labor on what does not satisfy? I have never been so starkly reminded of a Bible verse than by these cards. Yeah. You lack for nothing, yet you feel a sense of scarcity. That's some like having a gun pointed at you words. Like, yo, please hold back. Good morning, good evening. Bless you again, bro. It's nice having you here. Tell me. You can call me a flower if you want to. You're the fruit of the flower, technically. Mm, Swamp flower, transparent blooms differently in the crystal hills. Uber mega gypsy, hippie mode engaged. I've already started collecting random bits of string that I find on the ground. I'll probably start making roadside jewelry soon, bro. Make sure you feed yourself, bro. Especially if it's with roadside jewelry. I think your meals would taste extra good. Lost my shoes the first day and I don't miss them, bro. Thank you, Melty. I'm glad to have caught you today. Blessings. Nice to have you here, bro. Infinite blessings on your journey as you continue down. Did you eat some Georgia pecans or peaches as instructed, Swampy? I hope so. Absolutely! Too many peaches, maybe. Too many. I like that. Millions of peaches there, I say. Goodness. I thank you, friends, for joining me. It's always a pleasure getting to share these moments. I'm gonna say goodbye, dear friends. I say goodbye, dear friends. Goodbye, dear friends. It was fun having you here again. I am not in control of whether or not I feel cringe, but I am in control of making myself feel cringe. Like I can do things that I know I'll cringe about. And I feel the more I do stuff like that, I gain a certain tolerance to control the part of me that wants to hide. You know, like you have that friend that always has a good time when you go out together, but they never want to go out with you. And you have to like really encourage them, like really sell whatever it is you're gonna do, almost drag them out of the house. Right? I'm trying to drag myself out of the metaphorically speaking house. Love is true. I see hearts in the chat. Bless you, friends. Roadside jewelry sounds like a killer name for an Etsy shop. It actually does. Swampy Roadside Creations. Love is true. I thank you, friends, for joining me. I hope you have the most beautifully endearing, calmly and kind, quietly and quaint, super defined day. One where you know exactly the variables that you want to control and you have all the capacity to do so. You feel so in control that you'll go into your weekend on absolute breeze. right? Like a deep sense of ease will wash over your being. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me. I hope you have an amazing day. For reals. I'll clean it first, dude. Please do. I love you, friends. I'll see you again soon.